Hello and welcome back to my Vampire Survivor series where I try to unlock all of the things. Last time, it did not go amazingly. It was okay until we got destroyed by a Reaper that was much too quick for us. So, I'm not going to play him again today. I'm going to leave that for another time, but like I said last time, I'm definitely planning on playing him on a map that doesn't have a Reaper. For now, I don't really know what I want to go for. You know what? Let's go for Leda. Let's do a Leda run. And what's a map we haven't played in a while? I guess the library. Maybe. Sure. Let's go for the library. And, you know, let's do the Forsaken theme. Alright. Now, I'm pretty sure I've done this character before, and I think I did pretty much the same build, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it again because I like the wands. I like the bouncy wands. I think that's kind of fun. So we're gonna go for that. And then we might even do like some kind of freeze thing. Actually, shoot. Wait a minute. That seems broken. But in order to do the freeze build, we need to go for the counterparts. Oh, and we need the bracelet 1. Interesting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if we go for the Pichone. Okay. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back, and I actually forgot that I sealed some weapons earlier, so let me unseal what I got here and then seal the buy bracelet. So we'll be stuck on bracelet 1. Okay. Cool. Let's do that. We're just going to seal all of the enemies. Or not seal all the enemies, excuse me. Freeze all of the enemies. Because that sounds fun. And then we're going to get lots of explosions, and it'll be glorious. Alright, I mean, first we need to actually get, like, you know, a weapon. This. Okay. The enemies are starting to catch up to me. Okay. I'm actually curious. I don't know if Spellbinder affects freeze or not. I don't know how that works. Okay, Magic Wand is interesting. Obviously we already have the Holy Wand, but I'm not going to complain about getting the Magic Wand. Now, the only, or not the only problem, but the main problem that I see with this build is that we're probably not going to end up getting the Lancet, because we need the 6 slots just for our other weapons. I could end up taking the armor, because I do want to upgrade the Rune Tracer. I definitely want the tome, but the tome spawns on this map, so I don't really need to worry about that. Like I said, I don't really know how Spellbinder synergizes with the freeze from the Arcana, but could be good. You know, the guns, the birds. Meh. Maybe Duplicator could end up being good. We have a lot of open slots because we don't really care about, nice. Don't really care about evolving the bird or the gun. So we have plenty of open slots for items. Oh my gosh, okay, Jesus. I mean, Pichone is not going to do anything immediately. And really, if we wanted to, we could actually evolve Pichone because it's only the counterpart weapon that actually freezes. But I don't remember. Oh, it's the bracelet is the last weapon, right? So we'd have to forgo getting the bracelet for now, which isn't really the biggest deal. As much as I hate it, I think we're gonna have to let go of the Lancet for this run. I mean, I could just take the Lancet instead of like the bracelet, but okay, sure, we'll take the Ebony Wings. Why not? We'll evolve the Bandolier, and then we'll get the bracelet after we free up the space. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you know what? Pretty good start, I gotta say. I'm not sure if taking the Freeze Arcana was better as the first thing. I mean, the only other thing we could have taken was the counterparts, but I guess it doesn't really help us early on, does it? I think this probably gave us a little bit of extra safety just by freezing the enemies before they get to us, so they can't just like swarm us. I think it's probably decent. I guess Spellbinder, even if it doesn't synergize with the freeze, it synergizes with the birds, so it might end up being worth taking it. I think Bracer could be interesting with the Rune Tracer. And actually something else I forgot is that the Spellbinder synergizes with the bracelet. Because I believe the bracelet projectiles have like some kind of duration where they stay on screen. So, could be good. Candelabrador would be good. So I definitely want that. Plus Duplicator. That's 4 items because the tome is free. So we have 2 more slots. I mean, Bracer, I don't know, man. Bracer synergizes with Rune Tracer, but I don't know how it synergizes with everything else. Like with the birds, it's not an amazing synergy. Oh, I almost took that. That would have been bait. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, there's a Spellbinder. Well, might as well just take that. You know what? Let's just take this chest, whatever. It's gonna be a minute before we can even union the birds, so who cares? And actually, that being said, I probably should try to make my way to the left, shouldn't I? Oh, Duplicator. I totally forgot about that. I think I forgot about it. Maybe I was keeping it in mind earlier, but in between earlier and now, I forgot about it. Ooh. Oh my god, we can freeze everything. Okay, Tirona's box. So what do we want? We want Candelabrador. Potentially Tirona's box. Then what? Bracer? I'm definitely banishing Tirona's box, by the way. I don't mind it, though. I mean, spinach is never really bad. I don't think we care about any of these other things, though. I mean, maybe move speed just because we're slow, but whatever. We're going to be freezing everything anyways, right? Boom. If we had the damage from freeze, I would have wiped the entire screen. It would have been litty. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that wings could be interesting. Just to give us a little bit more move speed, because they're pretty slow. They're like minus 10%, and that's, you know, after our speed upgrades. But I'm not too concerned. I do have an interest in trying out the Bracer, to be honest. Even though I don't think the Bracer is super relevant with the weapons that we're going. I don't know, maybe it synergizes with the Bracelet. I still don't really know how the Bracelet works, to be honest. Like, I know it just throws out the projectiles, and then the projectiles kind of just, like, stay on the screen, and that's all that I know. But I suppose there's always time to learn. Although I say that, but I mean, honestly, like, we're getting pretty close to the end of the base game. I think, what is this? This is episode like 50 or something? Jeez. 50 days of playing this game. That's crazy, actually. Been daily runs. And I'm still finding new builds, new ways to play. I really like the characters that start with the evolved version of their weapon. I think it adds like an entirely new layer to builds, because you can get the evolved weapon and you can get the base weapon, right? So it's like, for example, this Arcana synergizes with the Holy Wand and the Magic Wand. So like, if you get both, it's like double synergy, kind of, right? Now obviously, you could still do this build, and you could end up getting the Lancet instead, right? And it'd probably be just as good. But still, I just think it's interesting, you know, like the Arcana that I was originally thinking about taking, the one that makes your wand bullets bounce. You can get both wands, right? So, I definitely like these characters. They're just interesting. They add a new dimension to the game. So much character variety in this game, man. Like, you know, pretty much every single weapon I think is represented, if not actually every weapon is represented by a character. Like having a starting weapon, aside from like the evolved ones, obviously. Although who knows, maybe in the DLC, all the evolved ones get representation as well. That's actually something that I'm curious about. I don't know how many weapons are in the DLC, but I believe there are like 10 characters, so I don't know if there's going to be like overlap there. I don't think off the top of my head that there are any characters that have the same starting weapons. I mean, the only ones that I can think of would be like Missing No and Random, but that's not, you know, I mean, that's literally random. I'm pretty sure Missing No is random starting weapon. Maybe I'm wrong about that, actually. But yeah. Character diversity, man. I'm definitely excited about another DLC too. I believe that I read some kind of like article or interview with the people, some of the people that made this game. And you know, they were talking about future plans for a DLC, so I'm excited, man. I mean, best case scenario would be that like the DLC comes out as I'm finishing first DLC, then I can just continue the series. Otherwise, I have to wait. But waiting's okay. It'd be nice to get a break as well, away from Vampire Survivors. Just cause. What was the last item I was going for? Was it Bracer? I guess so, right? It must have been. Because I have area, I have duration. And I'm not going to get move speed, am I? Alright, let's get Bracer. And let's get the Tome. And then we can go get the Silver Ring too, I suppose. We might as well. Just get Giga Strong. The ultimate build. That's another thing, is that like this game almost just gives you like a power fantasy, right? Like that's kind of just one of the main draws of the game for me, is that I just feel strong. Whenever I get a strong build, it's like, yeah, I'm unkillable now. That's right. Oh, you have plus 500% health? You're still one-shotted. Get wrecked, kid. Like, I don't know. It just feels good. Alright. No evolution. My bad. Yeah, the only thing that I would say, and I know that this is like really dumb, I wish you could get more Arcanas. Like, I think you can buy one from the merchant, so you can technically get 4, but I don't know, I don't really like using the merchant, because A, I don't have infinite gold, and B, it just feels like cheap to me to do. You know, if you do it, more power to you, no hate, but I just don't know if I want to use the merchant to get like a weapon or extra arcana. It definitely could make the game more like interesting in some regards. Because obviously I'm talking about getting a 4th arcana. But yeah, I don't know. And obviously, you know, one of the reasons why they don't let you get a 4th arcana is because that would be broken. Like, you know, if you could just get 10 arcanas, like, the game would be way too easy, right? That's still something that I don't really know about Queen Sigma, actually, is if she actually just gets 5 arcanas or something. Because whenever I played her, I remember getting, like, a ton of arcanas. And it was, like, immediately, too. It wasn't like I had to wait for the chests. I just got them. So I'm not sure if that's a feature of the character or not, but... I mean, that character's beyond broken. Like, I legitimately don't know if it's possible to lose a run as that character as long as you're, like, not trying to lose actively. Just the stats, the starting weapon, the arcanas. You know, I'm pretty sure her passive also gives her stat growth, so it's just like, yeah, it's gross. But you can't freeze these guys, huh? Well, that's good to know, I suppose. Okay, let's see if we can get Ebony Wings leveled up before we take this chest. Maybe we can union the birds, free up a slot. Well, I think we're about to get a new Arcana as well. Just hit 11 minutes. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's kind of tanky. I thought I would just one-shot him, but alas. Okay, banish Tirona's box instead of taking the Ebony Wings. I should have probably just taken the Ebony Wings, but whatever. Okay. Now, I do technically have choices. Okay. Well, we might as well just take it since we've got it already. And now our damage is probably going to be off the charts, right? I guess technically we don't get the explosion damage versus the bosses that can't be frozen, but... I mean, now I don't know if any enemies can even get close to us, because they're just going to explode. It's pretty gross. I won't lie. I'm still waiting for that Ebony Wings level up, so we can evolve. There we go. Union the birdies. Cool. And let's go ahead and just pick up this chest as well. Cool. And we're chilling. Let's go ahead and upgrade the Rune Tracer since that's the next weapon we want to evolve. And, I mean... we might as well just take them attack Leo, right? Whatever. Another chest, jeez, man. We are chested up. Alright, I guess I should have waited one level. Could have evolved the Rune Tracer, that's fine. I mean, I assume we're going to get to a high enough level where we can max everything out, right? I mean, it's only 13 minutes and we already have a crazy number of levels, level 72. Pretty good. I will say, this guy is really, like, taking the deeps, man. He is not dead. Which I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but I am, like, slightly surprised. And you know what? Oh, cool. I'm honestly wondering if it might be a good idea to have not evolved the Rune Tracer, because, like, look at how many projectiles we have on screen right now. Could be wrong. I think that the Rune Tracer evolution, No Future, actually just doesn't give you as many projectiles. Because I think the projectiles just stay on screen forever. But I don't think you get as many. which is actually like just not as good. Like having more projectiles is kind of nice, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But it already feels like we have less projectiles. And we just got the weapon. So, I don't know. Whatever. We'll just keep it moving. Alright, so I'm looking for the bracelet. And that's pretty much it. Once we get the bracelet, we're kind of just maxed out, I guess. Like... yeah, I don't know. we're kind of just maxed out once we get the bracelet. We could technically get the stone mask for extra gold. And obviously we're going to have limit breaks, so we're going to keep getting slightly stronger, but yeah. We pretty much have all the items we need except for the bracelet. Now, I guess the bracelet could end up being kind of hard to get, because it is like a fairly rare weapon, if I recall. God, look at how many red gems. Why are there so many red gems spawning this early in the run? Is it because of the curse? And, charm? That seems silly to me, but maybe. Look at how many red gems there are, man. What's going on? It's like red gems galore. By the way, we're probably getting so little gold from our gold fever or gold rush because this character is like minus 30% greed for some reason. Just as a baseline minus greed. So I guess that's one reason why we might want, wow, okay. Why we might want the stone mask. So that our gold fevers are not useless. But, man, 15 minutes in and we almost have our build maxed out. This is pretty good, I gotta say. Pretty good for us. Lots of red gems too. Can't complain about that. I do wish that we were a little bit faster. I won't lie. I do feel a little bit bad about not having the wings, but the bracer's kind of fun, just seeing the projectiles go fast. Instead of making us go fast, we make the projectiles go fast so that they hit the enemies faster. It works out. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other big thing to complain about, I kind of mentioned already earlier, but it will be harder to take out boss enemies just because I would say probably a decent portion of our damage is actually the freezing explosions from the Arcana, so the fact that it doesn't hit some of the bosses could end up being a concern, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Now, I do wish that we could pick up a vacuum at some point, because, not gonna lie, there's a lot of gems in the ground, and I can't really pick them all up. Don't have a tracked orb. Don't have wings. Just, it's a pain to pick up all these gems. I don't really feel like doing it. I guess I'll get all the red ones. They're like red rupees, basically. I actually remember seeing another thing where, like, I think in the interview with like some of the people that made the game, probably like one of the OGs, is that the visual assets was literally just like a free sprite pack that they found online. So the art style isn't even indicative of anything at all. But I do remember them saying something about being inspired by some type of like game to make this, I think. Maybe I'm completely putting that out of nowhere. I don't even remember where I saw that article. I feel like maybe I saw it on my phone sometimes, I don't know if this, I mean, I assume this is for most people, at least if they have an Android or it's like Samsung phone. My phone will just have a screen that you can scroll to on the left, the far left, where it just is like random articles. And then like the random articles will also just show up like on my like top bar, like notification bar or whatever. Just be like, this is an article related to something that maybe you care about. And I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong, but also why? Like, how do I disable this? Although, honestly, I don't even know if I would disable it, because sometimes they are kind of interesting, so I guess that's marketing for you. They know their customer base. Alright, well, the XP gain has slowed down slightly, I feel like. Mostly just because of, you know, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of hard for us to get all the XP considering how slow we are. And we don't really have any magnet, so we don't have an attract orb or anything. But, I mean, you know, enemies aren't really getting close, so I think that's a good sign. I'm also a little bit surprised that we didn't have to use a revive. Like, the enemies, even though they were really tanky, they weren't really doing a lot of damage to us in the early game. And I think Leda actually has a high starting armor stat, which might be the reason for that. It's probably supposed to make up for the slow speed. And I definitely think that it did. Yeah, I don't know, this character's cool. Like, I think one of the things that I really like is that the Holy Wand is actually not a bad weapon, and the Tome is actually really good. But the Magic Wand is kind of mediocre. And it doesn't synergize with a ton of weapons. I think that's probably the biggest problem with it. It just doesn't feel good to synergize with other things and like other Arcanas. So, you know, it can feel bad taking it. But, you know, if your weapon, or like if your character starts with it, and you have an Arcana that synergizes with it, like, that's free. That's just good. No reason not to take it, to be honest. But, yeah, I almost never, I'm just gonna say, I never take the Magic Wand nowadays. It would have been a lot more common back in the early Vampire Survivor days, but nowadays I just never do. Which isn't to say that it's bad, just, I don't know, I just don't like it. Nice, more money. Sadly, our negative 30% greed is preventing us from getting very much money at all. Boom. It's like a mini rosary. Actually, that's an interesting question. It looks like I'm kind of getting my question answered just by walking through the frozen enemies, but I'm curious if you can, like, refreeze an enemy, quote unquote. Whether that's applying the status effect again, or just, like, blowing them up if they're already frozen. It looks like it was blowing them up after they were already frozen. So, that's pretty chill. And now we've got technically 3 more weapons, but really 2 more weapons that I care about. The blue guns and then the blue bird. So now we're, oh my god, that like lagged my game. We are super cooking now. Again, no vacuums this entire run. That's interesting. I think you can seal items, actually. So I wonder what would happen, like if you seal an item, does that make it more likely to find the other items that aren't sealed? Like, if I sealed everything except for floor chicken, would I just get a guaranteed floor chicken every single thing that I hit? Or how does that work? Like, should I just seal the gold coins? That way I have a higher chance of getting, like, the bag of coins? I don't know. I mean, obviously because of Arcana, we have a higher chance of finding the Orlogians, but it's an interesting question. I'm sure some of you out there know the answer. I don't. Yeah, 23 minutes in, level 123. I mean, honestly, I am having a hard time seeing how we lose this run at this point. We do still have a revive left, and we also have 13 armor, which is a pretty crazy amount. Just like, even if an enemy runs up to us, unless they're like a super boss enemy, they're not going to kill us super quickly. But I guess if they were a super boss enemy, they could probably just stick on us because they probably wouldn't get frozen. And the armor reduction wouldn't matter too much, so meh. I guess I could see how we could lose the run, but again, we have a revive, we have lots of armor, we have lots of damage, honestly, like just straight up, we have a lot of damage. So, feeling pretty good about our odds. But I think the last time I said that, on a later run, I like died 30 seconds before the end of the run, so I probably shouldn't get too overconfident. I actually don't know when the last time I played Leda was, but I am like pretty certain that I lost that run. It might have been on the library now that I think about it, and I'm kind of scared. I don't think it was, but it could have been. Could have been on the library, and it could have been like 10 seconds before I won the run. And I was probably feeling pretty confident back then too. So I gotta watch myself. $129. I honestly, I did think we were gonna hit a much higher level, but I don't know. I think maybe the attract, like the magnet and the wings, really is hurting us, just not having enough XP. I mean, 129, level 129 is definitely not a low level by any means, but considering how fast our leveling up was like earlier on in the run, I don't know. It does feel a little bit lackluster. If only we had a vacuum. It looks like we can actually freeze this boss. Never mind, we're not freezing them, we're just making them stand still because of how many projectiles we're throwing. That makes sense, I guess. I guess another thing, I was kind of like talking about things that I have to complain about for Vampire Survivors. Another thing is that there are definitely times where there is like zero visual clarity of what is happening on screen. Which, like, to be fair, that's kind of part of the appeal of the game, actually. So I can't fault them too much for that, but, you know, I mean, I think you've probably seen it in some previous runs where, like, I'll just have so much nice screen, I can't even see the enemies. So, like, I can't dodge. You know, I can't pick up gems, I can't do anything. Again, it's part of the game, and they may even view it as like a balance tactic, where it's like, yeah, if you have too much crap, then yeah, it's gonna be harder for you to see, and that's the trade-off for, you know, having so many weapons or so many items. But definitely, it can be a bit much. Also, there are still slight lag issues at times. I mean, I know that they've made like quite a bit of progress in that department, where it's like, it almost never lags, honestly. I mean, look at how many things are on the screen right now and it's not lagging. I'm sure if I turn on damage numbers, it would be horrible, but who uses damage numbers, right? Unless they want to play in slow-mo. I also turned off the flashing enemies, which I really haven't missed. To be honest, I kind of thought that I would when I did turn it off. I was like, flashing enemies, it's like a big part of the experience. But I honestly forgot that it was a thing until just now when I was thinking about other settings, so I Haven't really missed it. Gotta be honest. Alright, approaching 28 minutes. That's when things will start to get hard, and we're going to actually be able to test our build. Is our build actually good or not? We'll see when it gets to the tough enemies. I mean, we're kind of just freezing all the enemies straight up, so maybe it won't even be a test. It'll just be like, can you freeze every single enemy on screen? Yes. You win. I'm curious to see what the highest DPS is at the end of the run. I also want to see how much damage our Arcana does. Because I feel like it was doing a fairly significant portion of our DPS. But I have no freaking clue, to be honest. I mean, maybe Vandaloo will end up being our highest DPS. Probably not. My guess is that No Future will probably be the most DPS, just because, like, there are some weapons that just always do a crazy amount of damage. Right? Like, Labora's one of them. No Future's one of them. They just both do damage. And this kind of goes back to my Holy Wand discussion earlier. Like, even though the Holy Wand is a really solid weapon, especially if you start off with it, it just isn't as strong in the later stages, I've found. And again, I'm by no means an expert. You know, this is episode 50. I'm sure there are people that have like 200, 300 runs in this game, so maybe they'll disagree, but I do feel like the Holy Wand is just not as strong in the later stages. Maybe if I had the one that makes the projectiles bounce, because that basically like triples the damage, quadruples the damage on it, but I don't know. It's definitely just one of those weapons where it's really good early. It's like garlic. Good early. The later you get, unless you really dedicate your build toward making it good, it's just not going to do much for you. But I mean, it's done great work this run, I'm sure. I mean, it's probably protected us from like every enemy that's tried to come near us, so I can't complain. But here we go. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay. I don't even know what to say. Holy Wand, 2.5 thousand DPS. No Future, 36,000 DPS. And, yeah, Out of Bounds, 73,000 DPS. So, I guess I was right. It did, in fact, do the most damage by far. I mean, it did more than 50% DPS. So, geez. All right. Well, there you have it. That's been this episode of Vampire Survivors. That'll be it from me for today's episode. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you have a good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. And I hope to see you next time where, I don't know, maybe I'll find another type of new, unique build that I haven't done before to try out. Either way, hope to see you there. I'm out of here. Peace.